How did we say I have?
Tenho.
And you have?
Ten.
Tem.
Tem.
That's better.
Tem.
That's
Right.
it. And how does one say I want?
Quero.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can you make it a bit more of an oo at the end?
Quero.
That's better. And you want?
Quer.
And how do we say I can?
Posso.
And you can?
Pode.
Right. Let's have all of those from Paulo. I have and you have.
Tenho, tem,
And I want and you want.
quero, quer.
And I can and you can.
Posso, pode.
How did we say to do or to make? It's related to the English word factory and fact.
Fazia.
Right. And what's the Portuguese for to say or to tell?
Dizer.
Now, the English word that I was relating it to was diction. So we start with D-I. So have another go.
Dizer.
Dizer, D-I-Z-E-R.
Dizer.
That's right. So do we have those? To do or to make and to tell or to say.
Fazer, dizer.
How did we say to know? To know, it's related to the Latin Homo sapiens. We are a knowledgeable species, supposedly.
Saber.
And how do we say to see?
Ver.
Okay, so to know and to see.
Saber, ver.
And now let's add some pronouns to them. How would you say to do it? To do it.
Fazê-lo.
And how would you say to do it if the it was referring to a feminine thing?
Fazê-la.
And that's spelt F-A-Z-E with a circumflex, with a hat, hyphen L-A. Because what happens is from fazer, we take off the final R, and we're going to add the O or the A for the it, but that doesn't sound nice. So we drop in an L as well. So we have fazê-lo and fazê-la. And what if they're plural things? How would you say to do them, masculine?
Farê-los.
What's to do or to make?
Fazê-lo.
That's to do or to make it, right?
Fazia.
Right. And to do or to make them? So we're going to add an S. And an S, essentially, when it's at the end of a word, sounds sh. But the pronunciation changes according to what follows. But we're not going to have anything following because we're just going to say to make them on its own. There's not going to be anything following. So you're just going to add an S to fazê-lo.
Fazê-los.
And that S is going to sound sh because we haven't got anything following.
Fazê-los.
Fazê-los. Yes, because it's an oo. It's not stressed, so it sounds oo. Fazê-los. And to do it or to do them referring to something feminine?
Fazê-las.
Fazê-las. Can we have those four?
Fazê-lo, fazê-la, fazê-los, fazê-las.
Now, those lu, le, lush and lush actually come from the pronouns that we learnt right at the beginning. How did we say I have it?
Tenho o.
And how would you say I have it referring to a feminine thing?
Tenho a.
Tenho a. And if it's a masculine plural, I have them.
Tenho os.
That's right. And feminine plural?
Tenho as.
Tenho as. Let's have those from Paulo, so the four forms.
Tenho o, tenho a, tenho os, tenho as.
There was another change that we had to make to u or when it followed the word for you have. What was you have?
Tem.
Right. And you have it. We had to change the u because it doesn't sound very nice after tem. We added an N.
Tenho.
Tenho. Because if you say tenho, it sounds like I have.
Tenho.
Tem, tem, no.
And we don't need to go through all the forms for the masculine and feminine because they follow the same pattern. Tem na, tem nos, and tem nas. And then we also learnt the word meaning to you in the sense of to speak to you. What was to you in the sense of to speak to you?
Elje.
Lye, L-H-E. So how would you say to say to you?
Dizer-lhe.
Dizer-lhe.
Now, the Portuguese words for the are the same as the words for it and them. So how do you say the in Portuguese? And we know a good way of remembering that because we talked about you. So how do you say you talking to a man?
O senhor.
And which bit of that means the?
O.
Right. And talking to a lady?
A senhora.
And which bit means the?
A.
A senhora, because it's not stressed. So let's have Paulo say you.
O senhor, a senhora.
And then the in the two forms.
O, a.
And now to make those plural, so if you're talking about plural things, you just add an S. So how would you say the in the plural if you're talking about masculine things?
Os.
And feminine?
As.
Os, as.
Now we can add the word of to make of the to all these forms. How do you say of in Portuguese?
De.
That's right, de. Now if you combine de with the, you get,
Ta.
yes, if it's feminine or if it's masculine.
Tu.
That's right. Okay, and in the plural forms?
Dus and das.
Okay, so can we have of the masculine, feminine, singular and plural?
Do, da, dos, das.
And now we also know the word for a, feminine. We talked about a difference, a translation. What was the word for a?
Uma.
Right. And how would you say of a?
Tuma.
That's right. So a, feminine, and of a.
Uma, duma.
Right. So that's covered our pronouns and the and a and most of the verbs that we learned up till now. The Portuguese word for expensive is caro, C-A-R-O, caro. You could think that you've got an expensive car, caro. And the Portuguese for very is muito, muito. It comes from the same root as the English word multitude, many, muito. How would you ask somebody, do you want it?
Pode.
Pode is, are you able or can you? How do you say you want?
Quer.
Right, and do you want it?
Quiere.
It.
Lo.
Now, lu is what we use when we hook it onto the whole verb, like fazê-lo. But if it's just going on the end of an ordinary verb, like you want it, it's just the u or the that we add. So, you want it?
Quer eu.
Yes, that's right. We add an I because it's awkward to say quer u. So we say quer u. And make that into a question.
Quer eu.
Quer eu?
And then we're going to give the answer, no. It's very expensive.
Não é muito caro.
Now you've just said it's not very expensive. I wanted no, it's very expensive.
Não é muito caro.
Yes, so full stop. Não, é muito caro. So let's have a complete sentence now. I don't want it, it's very expensive.
Não quero. É muito caro.
Não o quero. É muito caro.
How did we say I have?
Tenho.
Right, tenho. And to have is ter, T-E-R, ter. So it's very short to form of the verb. It's a bit like to see. What was to see?
Ver.
So let's have those two, to have and to see.
Ter, ver.
Is it like ter? Ter or tir? Was it halfway between?
Ter.
Ter.
Yeah, ter. And how would you say to have it?
Tero. Telo.
Right.
Tê-lo.
How would you say, I want to have it because I need it? And need was, when you need something in Portuguese, you precise of it because you know precisely what you need. So, I want to have it because I need it.
Quero ter.
That's I want to have.
Quero tê-lo porque preciso-lo.
Now, what was I need? So it's I precise. So if you try to think of precise in Portuguese,
Preciso,
preciso, that's right, preciso.
preciso.
And I need it. I need of it.
Preciso dele.
Good. Let's have that again then. I want to have it because I need it.
Quero tê-lo porque preciso.
Preciso, and that's I need, and then of it, because I precise of it. So we need the word for of there. Of is de. De. I need of it.
Preciso dele.
Good. Preciso dele.
Preciso dele.
Quero tê-lo porque preciso dele.
Do you want to repeat that now you've heard how it should sound?
Quero tê-lo porque preciso dele.
Quero tê-lo porque preciso dele. I want to have it because I precise of it, because I need it. Now in English we have another use of the verb to have, which is to have to. And what does to have to mean? When you say I have to, what does that mean?
Must.
Yes, so we have another sense of to have. When we put a to after it, it means must. And the same thing happens in Portuguese. If you add de after tenho de, it means I have to. So how would you say to have to?
Ter de.
Ter de. Right. So how would you say I must or I have to?
Tenho de.
De.
Tenho de.
So how would you say I have to do it?
Tenho de fazê-lo.
Tenho de fazê-lo.
And how would you say you have to do it?
Tem de fazê-lo.
Tem de fazê-lo.
How would you say I have to do it now?
Tenho de fazê-lo agora.
Tenho de fazê-lo agora.
The Portuguese for to go out or to leave is sair. S-A-I-R. Sair. S-A-I-R. So how would you say I have to go out, I have to leave?
Tenho de sair.
Tenho de sair.
And how would you say I have to go out now?
Tenho de sair agora.
Tenho de sair agora.
The Portuguese for soon is daqui a pouco. Daqui a pouco. We had aqui before. What does it mean?
Here.
And daqui means from here. The aqui. The can mean from as well as of. A pouco means to a little. Daqui a pouco. From here to a little bit, or soon. How would you say, I have to go out soon?
Tenho de
To go out. To go out with sair.
sair daqui a pouco.
Tenho de sair daqui a pouco.
How would you say you have to do it?
Tem de
Do it.
fazê-lo.
Tem de fazê-lo.
You have to do it now.
Tem de fazê-lo agora.
Tem de fazê-lo agora.
And how did we say soon? From here to a little bit.
Daqui a pouco.
Daqui a pouco.
How would you say you have to do it soon?
Tem de fazê-lo daqui a pouco.
Tem de fazê-lo daqui a pouco.
The Portuguese word for when, question word when, is quando. 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 So how would you say, when do you have to do it?
Quando tem de fazê-lo?
Quando tem de fazê-lo?
How would you say, when do you have to go out?
Quando tem de saí-lo?
Is it to go it out or just to go out?
Saí-lo.
How do you say to go out?
Sair.
So how do you say you have to go out?
Tem sair.
You have to. There's an extra word we put in there to turn have into have to.
Tem de sair.
Yes, but don't stress the d. So,
Tem de sair.
right, now that means you have to go out. So how would you ask the question, when do you have to go out?
Quando tem de sair?
Quando tem de sair?
You were trying to put u on the end of sair. So you were trying to put it on the end of go out, and we don't need to say that. We just wanted to say go out without an it on the end. Let's go through those again. How would you say, when do you have to do it?
Quando tem de fazê-lo?
Quando tem de fazê-lo?
And when do you have to go out?
Quando tem de sair?
Quando tem de sair?
How did we say, will you tell me, as a polite request?
Pode me dizer.
Dizer.
So it's pode me dizer.
Pode me dizer?
Will you tell me why you have to do it that way?
Pode me dizer porque tem de fazê-lo assim.
Pode me dizer porque tem de fazê-lo assim?
How would you say, will you tell me why you have to do it now?
Pode me dizer porque tem fazê-lo agora?
What comes after tem to turn have into have to?
Tem de.
Right, tem de. So let's have that again. Will you tell me why you have to do it now?
Pode me dizer porque tem de fazê-lo aqui,
Now.
agora.
Good.
Pode me dizer porque tem de fazê-lo agora?
What was to buy?
Comprar.
Good. And to buy it?
Comprá-lo.
So how would you say, will you tell me why you have to buy it today?
Pode me dizer porque
You have to.
tem de comprá-lo hoje.
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 Pode me dizer porque tem de comprá-lo hoje?
Will you tell me why you have to buy it now?
Pode-me dizer porque tem
Porque tem.
comprá-lo,
Tem de, because it's have to.
tem de comprá-lo agora.
Pode me dizer porque tem de comprá-lo agora?
Will you tell me why you have to buy it here?
Pode-me dizer porque tem de comprá-lo aqui?
Pode me dizer porque tem de comprá-lo aqui?
Words in English that end in ical, I-C-A-L, or ic, I-C, end in ico in Portuguese, I-C-O. So, how would you say political?
Político?
Good. And how would you say economic?
Econômico,
Good. Let's have those.
Político? Econômico?
So let's hear the sound at the beginning of economic.
Econômico?
So it's not an E like in English, it's a slightly more E sound. How would you say logical?
Lógico.
So how did we say urgent?
Urgente.
So logical.
Lógico.
Lógico?
So how would you say it's not logical?
não lógico.
And where's your is? It is not.
Não é lógico.
Não é lógico?
How would you say it is not logical, but it is very practical that way? Now, in Portuguese, you drop the first C of the English word practical. So essentially, you're saying practical in Portuguese. So it's not logical, but it is very practical that way.
Não é lógico, mas é muito prático assim.
Não é lógico, mas é muito prático assim.
We had a spelling rule before which involved certain vowels and certain consonants. What was our spelling rule?
It was the R-U-I-N-L. We hit on the end instead of the penultimate syllable.
Right. We called it the I rule.
The I rule.
So a word ending in I or U, or with an I or U in the last syllable, or ending with R and L, was automatically stressed on that last syllable. Can you give me an example of a word that ends in R?
The two form of the verb. Fazer.
Good. Can you give me an example of a word that ends in I that's stressed on that ending?
Aqui.
Excellent. How do you spell the Portuguese for Portugal? Portugal.
I assume it's the same as English.
It is
so-
the same.
yeah.
Will it have a written accent anywhere?
No, because you're hitting the L on the end.
Right, exactly. So if a word ends in R or L, or I or U, or has an I or U in the last syllable, it is automatically stressed on that last syllable. So it doesn't need a written accent. This is the I rule. Now, Portuguese words that end in any other vowel, A, E or O, or in the letters S or M, are automatically stressed on the syllable before last. So, importante, for example, it ends in an E and the stress is therefore on the previous syllable, the syllable before last. But what about a word like lógico? Where's the stress in lógico?
On the O.
Which O?
On the first O.
Right.
So is it L-O accent?
Exactly, because we need to show that that's where the stress is. How would you say lógico if it didn't have a written accent on it?
Lógico.
Lógico, exactly, because the rule would be that it's stressed on the penultimate, on the syllable before last, if there's nothing else to indicate anything else. So how would you would there be an accent on a word like politico, for example?
On the I.
Which I?
Poli.
That one, exactly, on that I, exactly, to show where the stress falls. So Portuguese spelling is very regular. It does help you. Whenever you see a word written, if you know these two rules, the I rule and this other rule I'm going to call the awesome rule, because it's got an A, E, O, M and S in it. Forget about the W in awesome. So if a word is stressed in defiance of the I rule or the awesome rule, it will carry a written accent to show you where it's stressed. So Portuguese is very, very accommodating in that way. We do know that words ending in são are stressed on that syllable, and they carry a written accent, the til, the little squiggle over the A. How would you spell the name José? It's the equivalent of Joseph in English. José.
Jose.
That says José, but we want José.
With a accent on the E.
On the E, exactly.
Because you're stressing the E at the end when you're not supposed to under the awesome rule.
Exactly. Yeah. Under the awesome rule, it should be José, but it's José. And there you can hear the difference, what happens to the O, whether it's stressed or not stressed. How would you spell pode, you can?
Pode.
Exactly. And it doesn't need an accent because it ends in E, and according to our rule, the awesome rule, it should be stressed on the penultimate syllable, and it is. How do you spell Angola, the country in Africa?
Angola.
Any written accent?
No.
No. Because
you've stressed it on the O, which is the penultimate syllable, and it's an A on the end. So it's awesome.
It follows the awesome rule. The Portuguese for Canada is Canada. So how do you spell Canada in Portuguese?
Canada.
And it's stressed on the last syllable, so does it need a written accent or not? Canada.
No.
What does the awesome rule say about words ending in A? Words like Angola.
That you put the stress on the penultimate syllable.
And where is Canada stressed?
On the A at the end.
So it's stressed in defiance of the awesome rule. So it will need a written accent. Otherwise it'd be Canada, like Angola.
So it needs an accent at the end?
It does. So the rule is, the awesome rule is, if the word ends in A, E or O, S or M, awesome, the stress is on the penultimate syllable, the syllable before last, unless there's some kind of a written accent to show you otherwise. Now, if you want to say the political situation in Portuguese, you have to put things the other way round. In Portuguese, you put the important word first, and then you describe it. So you would say the situation political. Now, situation in Portuguese is what?
Situação.
Right, and is that a masculine word or a feminine word?
It's feminine. They're all feminine.
Right.
Yeah.
So how would you say the political situation? Now, political has to change to agree with situation.
Situação política.
Good. And the political situation?
De.
De is of. The?
A.
Right, so the political situation.
A situação política.
Good. Let's have that.
A situação política.
And the politico has to change to política because situação is a feminine word and it has to agree with it. And later on we'll come across our two characters, Roberto and Roberta, masculine and feminine, one ends in O, one ends in A, and we'll be using those as a kind of reminder to what happens to adjectives, to describing words according to what they're describing, because they will change. And how would you say the economic situation?
Situação econômica.
A situação económica.
Most words that end in ty in English, like university, city, society, end in dad in Portuguese, D-A-D-E, dad, and they're all feminine. So how would you say university?
Universidade.
universidade,
How would you say city?
Cidade.
cidade,
How would you say society?
Sociedade.
sociedade,
The Portuguese word for in is em. E-M, em. So you've got that nasal sound at the end again. Em. So how would you say in Portugal?
Em Portugal.
em Portugal.
Now, in Portuguese, countries usually are preceded by the. Portugal itself is an exception, I imagine, because if you're Portuguese, you say Portugal so often that you drop the the. But if you're talking about any other country in Portuguese, you have to say the France, the Italy, the Canada. How do you suppose you say Italy in Portuguese?
Are they feminine or masculine?
Good question. Italy is feminine.
Feminine.
A Italia.
A Itália.
Italia. So the stress is different from English. In English we stress the I, and in Portuguese you stress the A. How would you say Brazil? And Brazil is a masculine word. So you're going to say the Brazil.
O Brasil.
That's right.
O Brasil.
How did we say in?
Em.
Now, when you say in a country, because you're going to say in Italy or in Brazil, the in gets contracted, gets pushed in together with the word for the. So just as we did of the u became do, and of the feminine de became de. In the same way, we're going to run ein into u or But because ein u is a bit nasty to say, it actually becomes nu or ne. So nu is in the masculine, ne in the feminine. So how would you say in Italy? And you're going to have to say in the Italy.
Na Itália.
Good.
Na Itália.
And how would you say in the Brazil? In Brazil?
No Brasil.
No Brasil.
So, how would you say, what impression do you have of the political and economic situation in Portugal? What impression? How did we say why?
Por quê?
And what does that mean?
For what?
So how do we say what?
Que?
Right? Impression?
Impressão.
Good. Que impressão do you have?
Tenho.
Tenho is I have. You have.
Tem.
Tem. Just
Tem.
tem. Okay? Of the situation.
Da situação.
Good. Political and economic.
Político e econômica.
Right. Now, economica is right. You ended that with an A. So you also need to end politica with an A.
Política e econômica
In Portugal.
da Portugal.
That would be of Portugal or in Portugal. In is em.
Em Portugal.
Excellent.
Que impressão tem da situação política e económica em Portugal?
Do you want to say it again? What impression do you have
Que impressão tem
of the political and economic situation?
da política,
Now we need to say the situation, political and economic.
da situação política e econômica
In Portugal. And in is em.
em Portugal.
Excellent.
Que impressão tem da situação política e económica em Portugal?
What impression do you have of the political and economic situation in Brazil?
Que impressão tem da situação política e econômica no Brasil.
Right. And how do you say and?
É.
No. E.
I.
E.
I.
And you said in the Brazil, which is correct, whereas we had in Portugal. So it's in Portugal, but any other country is in the Italy, in the France. Portugal is an exception.
Que impressão tem da situação política e económica no Brasil?
So if it was in Italy, it would be na Italia.
Exactly. Na Itália, no Brasil, em Portugal. To say how much in Portuguese, you say quanto. 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 And that's related to the English word quantity. So if you want to know what the quantity is, you want to know how much there is. Quanto. So how would you say, how much is it?
E quanto?
Yes, you could say that. You said, it is how much, and it sounded like a question because you raised your voice, so that's absolutely fine. And could you say it in a different way?
Quanto é?
Okay, let's have both ways.
É quanto? Quanto é?
Will you tell me how much it is?
Pode me dizer quanto é?
Pode me dizer quanto é?
Will you tell me how much it is because I need it?
Pode me dizer quanto é porque preciso
Of it.
dele.
Pode me dizer quanto é porque preciso dele.
Dil.
Dele.
It actually sounds quite like a Russian. It's like a swallow. Dil rather than dele. Dil.
Yes.
It sounds to me.
Portuguese does sound very Slavonic.
Mhm.
So if you go for that deep Russian sound, you won't go far wrong. How would you say, will you tell me how much it is? Because I want to have it.
Pode me dizer quanto é porque quero tê-lo.
Telu.
Tê-lo.
So will you tell me how much it is because I want to have it?
Pode me dizer quanto é porque quero tê-lo.
How would you say, I must have it? So I have to have it.
Preciso dele.
That means I need it, which is one way of saying it. How did we say I have to? I have to go out.
Ter.
Okay, ter is to have, and to have to?
Telo.
Telu is to have it, but to have to, we add de after ter. Ter de means to have to. I have to have it.
Tenho.
That's I have, and I have to.
Tenho de.
Good. I have to have it.
Tenho de. Telo.
Tenho de tê-lo. I have to have it.
Tenho de tê-lo.
And how would you say, I have to see it?
Tenho de vê-lo.
Okay.
Tenho de vê-lo.
And I have to buy it?
Tenho de comprá-lo.
Tenho de comprá-lo.
The Portuguese for if it's not very expensive, which is what we're coming up to now, is se, S-E, se, se, S-E, if, se. So how would you say if possible?
Se possível.
Se possível.
Se possível.
How would you say if it's not very expensive?
Se é muito caro.
That's if it's very expensive, if it's not very expensive.
Se não é muito caro.
Good.
Se não é muito caro.
How would you ask, why do you have to buy it?
Por que é que tem de comprá-lo?
Por que é que tem de comprá-lo?
The Portuguese word for I am is estou. Estou. E-S-T-O-U. Now that O-U together in Portuguese makes an O sound, so estou. And according to the I rule, if a word ends in a U, it's stressed on the last syllable, and estou ends in a U, but the O-U together sounds O. Estou. Now, to say that you're busy, it's the same word as occupied. So, ocupado. Ocupado. Portuguese, as we said before, changes these words, these describing words. Their endings change according to what they're describing. So when a man says that he's busy, ocupado will have a different ending from when a woman says it. So how do you say, I'm busy?
Estou ocupado.
Estou ocupado.
And how would a woman say that? I'm busy.
Está ocupada.
Right, the I am doesn't change, only the busy changes.
Estou ocupada.
Good.
Estou ocupada.
The word for tired is cansado. Cansado. C-A-N-S-A-D-O. And again, it changes for a man or for a woman. So how would you say as a woman, I'm tired?
Estou cansada.
Good.
Estou cansada.
And you as a man, I'm tired?
Estou cansado.
Yeah, we want the stress on the estou.
Estou cansado.
More of an U at the end.
Cansado.
Cansado.
Cansado. Estou cansado.
Estou cansado.
How would you say, I'm not very busy today, as a man?
Não estou muito ocupado hoje.
Hoje, yeah?
Hoje. Can I say that again?
Please.
Não estou ocupado hoje.
Very busy.
Muito ocupado hoje.
Good.
Não estou muito ocupado hoje.
And how would you say that as a woman? I'm not very busy today.
Não estou muito ocupada hoje.
Good.
Não estou muito ocupada hoje.
Now for you are, it's está. E-S-T-A, and it will have an accent on it because it ends in A, and according to the awesome rule, it should otherwise be stressed on the penultimate syllable, but we're stressing it on the last syllable, está. So we're going to put an accent on the A. And that also distinguishes it from the word for this. We had this night. What was this night? Tonight.
Esta noite.
Esta noite. So we've got esta meaning this, when it's this night, when it's a feminine word, but está meaning are, as in you are. So how would you say to a man, you're busy?
Está ocupado.
Right, that would be the question. Are you busy? Está ocupado. Yeah. And how would you give it as a statement? You are busy.
Está ocupado.
Right. So question and statement.
Está ocupado? Está ocupado.
How would you say to a woman, are you busy now?
Está ocupada agora?
Está ocupada agora?
And how would you say to a man, are you busy today?
Está ocupado hoje.
And that S, because it's in front of a T, sounds sh. Está?
Está ocupado hoje.
Está ocupado hoje?
When I hear Paulo say, all I can hear is está.
Yeah.
Está ocupado.
Yes,
Not
that
está ocupado.
it's written ishta, but we're speaking slowly here because we're learning the words. But in natural fluent speech, yeah, shta. But I think we'll stick to está for the moment so that we're quite clear about how it's spelled.
When I'm saying words, particularly in single words, when I have to say, for instance, you are, está, I have to make that sound clear. But when I put it in context, in a sentence, there are little changes. Está. Está ocupado hoje?
The Portuguese for house is casa, C-A-S-A, casa. So how would you say this house?
Esta casa.
Esta casa.
The word for to be that's related to this estou, I am, está, you are, is estar. So like any other verb, it ends in an R, estar. And you could say estar, to be a star, or in estuary English, to be a star. So how would you say, I have to be here today?
Tenho de estar aqui.
I have to.
Tenho de estar aqui hoje. I keep saying hoje, but it's hoje.
Hoje. Tenho de estar aqui hoje. Now I said it very slowly to clarify each sound in each word. But if I say this in the middle of a conversation, I would say hoje. Tenho de estar aqui hoje. So it's de and estar become, it's almost like you put an apostrophe on top and take one of the e's and just become de estar.
And the unimportant syllables just drop by the wayside. But it's important that we know how to form these words before we start dropping them. How would you say to somebody, let's say you were on the phone to them, where are you now?
Onde está agora?
Onde está agora?
The Portuguese for how is como, como, C-O-M-O, how, como. So how would you ask somebody, how are you?
Como está?
Como está?
What was the Portuguese for good?
Bom.
And day is dia, dia, D-I-A. Although it ends in A, it's a masculine word. So bom doesn't need to change when it's describing it. So how would you say good day?
Bom dia.
Good day, how are you?
Bom dia. Como está?
Bom dia, como está?
And that's how you would say, hello, how are you? So, hello, how are you?
Bom dia, como está?
Bom dia, como está?
How would you ask a man, are you tired?
Está cansado?
Está cansado?
And how would you ask a lady, are you tired?
Está cansada?
Está cansada?
And how would you reply, I'm tired, as a woman?
Estou cansada.
Estou cansada.
I am going to, in Portuguese, is vou, V-O-U, vou. I'm going to. So how would you say, I'm going to be here?
Vou. Estou aqui.
How do you say to be a star? Or rather, in estuary English, to be a star?
Vou estar aqui.
And it's a sh sound.
Está.
Estar. Because it's the to form of the verb, it ends in an R.
Vou estar aqui.
Vou estar aqui.
I'm going to be here today.
Vou estar aqui hoje.
Vou estar aqui hoje.
How do we say to eat?
Comer.
So how would you say, I'm going to eat now?
Vou comer agora.
Vou comer agora.
How would you say, I'm going to buy it?
Vou comprá-lo.
Vou comprá-lo.
And how would you say I'm going to buy it if the it in question was a feminine word?
Vou comprá-la.
Vou comprá-la.
And how would you say, I'm going to buy them masculine things?
Vou comprá-los.
Vou comprá-los.
How would you say, I'm not going to buy it?
Não o comprar.
How did you say, I'm going to buy it?
Oh, I need the vou. Vou comprá-lo.
And I'm not going to buy it?
Não vou comprá-lo.
Não vou comprá-lo.
Now, because this is a negative sentence, we've got the option of putting the u up at the front of the sentence, after the noun. Have a go.
Não o vou comprar.
Okay, so can we have it both ways?
Não o vou comprar. Não vou comprá-lo.
And how would you say, I'm not going to buy it, referring to a house, which is a feminine thing?
Não vou comprá-la.
Não vou comprá-la.
How would you say, I'm not going to buy it, the house, because it's very expensive?
Não vou comprá-la.
Because it is. Because
Porque
it is.
é que.
É is it is that. We just want it is.
Porque é muito caro.
Now, caro would refer to a masculine thing, but we're talking about the house, aren't we?
Muito cara.
Wonderful. Do you want to do that again?
Não vou comprá-la porque é muito cara.
Não vou comprá-la porque é muito cara.
What was the word for something?
Algo.
So how would you say, I'm going to buy something?
Vou comprar algo.
Vou comprar algo.
How would you say, I'm going to buy something now?
Vou comprar algo aqui.
That would be here,
Vou comprar algo
now, at this hour.
agora.
Vou comprar algo agora.
What was the Portuguese for to say or to tell?
Dizer.
Okay. How would you say, I'm going to tell you something? Now that you is actually to you.
Vou dizer-lhe. Elia, is it?
Lhe.
Lhe. So, vou dizer-lhe algo.
Vou dizer-lhe algo.
How would you say, I'm going to tell you something now?
Vou dizer-lhe
Something now.
algo agora.
Vou dizer-lhe algo agora.
How would you say, do you want to tell me something?
Quer me dizer algo.
Quer me dizer algo?
So you put the m up at the front of the sentence, like in will you tell me? Pode me dizer. And what if you hooked the m onto the whole verb, onto dizer?
Quer dizer-me algo?
Quer dizer-me algo?
The Portuguese word for late is tarde. Tarde, T-A-R-D-E, and it's obviously related to the English word tardy. It's an old word meaning late, tardy, tarde. So how would you say very late?
Muito tarde.
Muito tarde.
So it's not really an e at the end, it's written with an e, but because of the e is not stressed, it just sounds tarde. Muito tarde. How would you say it's very late?
É muito tarde.
É muito tarde.
And it's very late now.
É muito tarde agora.
É muito tarde agora.
You may have heard the Portuguese expression for more or less. Mais ou menos. Mais ou menos. Mais, M-A-I-S, means more. But when we run it into the word for or, o, it sounds mais ou menos. So we've got mais, M-A-I-S, meaning more, ou, O-U for or, and menos, M-E-N-O-S, minus or less. Mais ou menos, more or less, which was a way of getting to the word more, which is mais. So how would you say later, which in Portuguese is more late?
Mais tarde.
Mais tarde.
So it's tarde.
Yes,
Mais tarde.
that's better.
Mais tarde.
So let's have that again.
Mais tarde.
So how would you say, I'm going to be here later? How did you say, I'm going to buy it?
Vou comprá-lo.
Right, vou comprá-lo. So I'm going to be, what's to be?
Vou estar
Here later.
aqui mais
Mais, and late is
tarde.
good. So I'm going to be here later.
Vou estar aqui mais tarde.
That's right. Because you were saying, I'm going to be here more. And we needed to say more late. Vou estar aqui mais tarde.
Vou estar aqui mais tarde.
Want to break that down? So what does vou estar mean?
Vou, I'm going. Estar, the verb to be. Aqui, here. Mais is more and tarde is late.
That's exactly right. How did you say hello or good day?
Bom dia.
Right, now tarde, which means late, also means afternoon or evening. In order to say good afternoon or good evening, we have to change bom into its feminine form because tarde is a feminine word. So we say boa. Bom in the masculine goes to boa in the feminine. So how do you say good afternoon or good evening?
Boa tarde.
Boa tarde.
So how do you say good afternoon, how are you?
Boa tarde. Como está?
Boa tarde. Como está?
How would you say I'm going to do it?
Vou fazê-lo.
Vou fazê-lo.
How would you say I'm not going to do it?
Não vou fazê-lo.
Não vou fazê-lo.
So I'm not going to do it now because I'm busy as a man.
Não vou fazê-lo agora porque estou ocupado.
Não vou fazê-lo agora porque estou ocupado.
How would you say, as a woman, I'm not going to do it now because I'm going to be very busy today?
Não vou. Estou.
I'm not going to do it
Não vou fazê-lo
now.
agora porque
I'm going to be.
estou
That's I am. I'm going to be
vou estar
very busy today.
muito ocupado hoje.
Right, ocupado is for a man.
Muito ocupada hoje.
Good. So the second half again, I'm going to be very busy today.
Vou estar muito ocupada hoje.
I'm not going to do it now because I'm going to be very busy today.
Não vou fazê-lo agora porque vou estar muito ocupada hoje.
Shall we break it down? Não vou fazê-lo agora.
Não vou fazê-lo agora is I'm not going to do it today.
Agora.
Now. Porque is because
Vou estar.
I and the verb to be, I am,
No, vou estar.
I'm going to be too busy.
Well, very busy. Muito
Very
ocupada.
busy
Hoje.
today.
That's it. Now, To call or to ring on the phone, so to ring somebody, to call somebody, is ligar, Ligar, ligar. And that's related to a word like ligament, which means join. So you join somebody when you speak to them on the phone. Ligar, ligar. Now, if you want to say, I'm going to call you, that you is actually to you. It's the same as I'm going to say to you. It's that other you that means to you. So how would you say, I'm going to call you?
Vou ligar. And does it depend on it's a man or a woman?
Not this to you, no.
Vou ligar-lhe.
Vou ligar-lhe.
Okay, so that lhe, L-H-E, means to you. Vou ligar-lhe. So I'm going to call to you. I'm going to ring to you. So how would you say, I'm going to call you today?
Vou ligar-lhe hoje.
Vou ligar-lhe hoje.
I'm going to call you later.
Vou ligar-lhe. Mas no, that's but
More or less.
mais tarde.
And that S, because it's before a T,
Mais.
it's going to sound like a sh.
Mais tarde.
When you run them together, it's going to sound like
So,
a sh.
vou ligar-lhe mais tarde.
Good.
Vou ligar-lhe mais tarde.
How did you say, will you tell me? Which is actually, can you tell me?
Pode me dizer.
Pode me dizer.
So how would you say, can you call me?
Pode me ligar.
Pode me ligar.
And how would you say, can you call me later?
Pode
Pode.
me ligar mais tarde.
Pode me ligar mais tarde.
Can you just say tarde? Or does it have to be mais tarde?
Tarde means late, or afternoon or evening. But mais tarde means later.
Later.
The Portuguese for at what time, they actually say at what hours. And the word for at is a, one letter, the letter A. And so that we don't confuse it with meaning the feminine as in a situation, the situation, it's pronounced a. A also means to, as in I'm going to Lisbon. Vou a Lisboa. So a que, or que if you say it on its own, a que horas. So we've got three words there. A que horas. At what hours? Horas, H-O-R-A-S, hours. At what hours? So how would you say, at what hours can you call me?
A que horas pode ligar-me?
A que horas pode ligar-me?
And how did we say, will you tell me?
Pode me dizer.
Right. Now, try to use that word order with, at what time can you call me?
A que horas pode me ligar?
That's right. So you can either say pode ligar-me or pode me ligar.
A que horas pode me ligar?
How would you say, at what time can you be here?
A que horas pode estar aqui?
A que horas pode estar aqui?